This is the Let's Go Win podcast with your host, J.M. Ryerson.
What is good, everybody? J.M. Ryerson coming to you on Let's Go Win podcast for Tuesday tune-up with my lovely co-host, Lisa Ryerson.
Hello.
I would say good morning, but it's actually afternoon at this point. How are you doing today?
Do you really care?
I do care. Very curious.
I am doing awesome today. My house got all dialed in yesterday. Big win.
Big win.
Big win.
Let me ask you, are you an outgoing person? Are you a shy person? If you were to say what you are, what are you?
So shy. No. Very, very outgoing.
Okay.
For sure.
So that would be a potential what we're going to be talking about today. Is there any labels that you associate to yourself that are not necessarily positive?
Well, see, people associate me with OCD.
Okay.
I don't think they're putting it in a positive light. I think it's a positive thing. It can get negative at times, for sure. Impatient.
Okay.
Quick temper.
So these are all things that you say about yourself or other people say about you?
Both.
Yeah, I was going to say, because what we're talking about today is your choices, not your labels. And yet constantly we are bombarded with labels. And actually, you do say you're OCD. I hear you say that all the time, where you'll never hear me say that. I say you're very type A, still a label.
Right.
But I don't think there's a negative connotation, or at least I don't associate it with that. Whereas OCD, it's almost like you say that jokingly. So anyway, the point of today's conversation is we are our choices. We are not our labels. And here's what I mean by that. Human beings, we are not static. We change. Hopefully we evolve. I don't think I'm the same human being I was when I was 8 years old or 33 years old or even last year. I think I have changed. Yet, so often people put that we are the certain way because of it helps to put us in boxes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So one of the things that I want people to realize is that human beings are not static. And so my point to this would be, were you always an outgoing person?
No, I feel like I was really, really shy growing up. Probably until I would say 8 or 10. Kind of started coming out of my shell and then got into high school. I went to all girls Catholic high school. That definitely took me out of my shell because you're around all females and you really don't care, what you look like. And we were all in uniforms and it was great. And then I got to college and it was a whole new, experience of just meeting people and putting yourself out there. So definitely kept on opening as I got older.
Yeah. So the idea here would be so often, and I've personally done this myself, where let's say in our early 30s, if we were going to a cocktail party where I didn't know anybody, I would pre-label that I wasn't comfortable with that.
Right.
The truth is, I was choosing not to be comfortable in that scenario. And the moment I changed my tune, and I seriously have to do this, guys, before every event, I do have to tell myself, it's all the way I'm going into it. But if I label myself that I'm shy, I am an introvert, which that's a whole different subject that we can get into, but it will go that way. And so that's something that you personally watch and help me with as well, to say, you're making that choice. The truth is, you can be as dynamic or outgoing or, have the best time at this party, or you can go in thinking it's going to go crappy, and it will go crappy.
Totally agree with that. Yes. And I've seen your transformation and it's awesome because I love going to cocktail parties and weddings and all these fun things. And you've always resisted it, right? I mean, I would say probably up to about 10 years ago, you resisted it. And I'm like, but it's so fun. I'm like, it's a chance to get dressed up. And you're like, I don't want to get dressed up. I don't want to have to go meet new people. And right now you just embrace it. Actually, I think now you're more social than I am. I'm still very social, of course, but I'm like, okay, I've got my friends. I'm at my, max capacity of meeting new people. And you're like, no, but we have to go here. Let's go here. Let's go meet these people. Let's go to the clubhouse. And so it's really cool to see.
Well, it is one of those things that we label, or so often our parents, our friends will label us a certain way, and we get attached to that label. And it's not necessarily, it doesn't mean that it's always bad. And that's why I asked you, like outgoing, typically I think of that as a good thing because you're known that way. It puts you in a light where you do typically, when we meet new people, I say you could talk to a doorknob for a half an hour. And the truth is she can. But that's something that does serve you positively versus like the OCD thing. That can be somewhat of a deterrent. So that's one of those labels that you try to, or at least I try to shy away saying that about you, even though you might be very particular.
And I don't feel like OCD. I mean, it can be a negative thing at times, right? I know it's negative when I'm constantly trying to keep the house clean and I live with 3 boys and it's quite impossible, right? And a dog that just likes to tear up everything. So I've relaxed a lot over the years, but it's just something that I like having a clean house. I like things being perfect or the way that they, in my brain should be.
Yeah. So one of the labels that I do like to be affixed to me, or if I had somebody say if they say you have a growth mindset, that is a label I want to have because it's something that I do believe in. It's something that I haven't always been that way, right? Like there are certain things, and we all do, certain things we are very open to, other things we're very fixed to. But the whole idea, that would be one that serves us. So I'm not saying don't use labels ever, because we do have to, well, actually in this day and age, I was going to say you're a girl, I'm a boy. Truth be told, that has become a little more blurred now. Yeah. But it does help us really understand it puts us into categories, if you will. Right. And so one of the things I just caution you all to do is be aware of what you are labeling yourself or what others are. And are those labels serving you positively? Change is good would be the second tip. This is something that often, and this will be really fun because Lisa really loves change. And it's something that you do struggle with a bit, whereas I love change. I think change is exciting. I embrace it. But most of the time, you are the one specific to, like the move would be an example, where there was a lot of fear, the unknown that goes into it. And so, but my opinion is change is good. So trying new things is good. So I don't know, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, everybody deals with change differently, right? So in my scenario, it was fear-based and I knew we were going to do it. So I just kept on pushing forward. I was like, okay, what's next? We just have to keep on going. And I make things happen, even though it could be scary at times. And it has been the most amazing thing for us, right? To move across the country and meet them. I mean, just have this community of humans here and they're awesome, right? And it's been a really, really great move for us for sure. But yeah, it's funny because even as simple as the weather here, right? Right now it's July, June, July, August, it's tropical hurricane season, right? Or actually, I think it even goes into like August, September, October. But anyway, for me, I like planning out my day. I like to know, okay, if I wear flip-flops out in the morning because it is 90 degrees outside and I go grocery shopping, because this has happened on multiple times, and all of a sudden I come out and it is thunderstorming. Right? Sunny when I walked into the grocery store, thunderstorming when I come out. And all of a sudden my flip-flop is flying across the parking lot because it's like, I'm like walking in puddles across the parking lot. And I'm like, that change sucked for me. Like that's something I'm going to have to embrace because of course it's exciting to lose flip-flops and not know what to do and drop groceries everywhere. And you're soaking wet by the time you get in the car. But at the same time, I'm labeling myself, I'm a planner. I like to know exactly if I walk out of the house this way, that's exactly how I'm going to come back in. And I don't have to put rain boots in my car.
So I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm going to cut you off briefly because you just said it. You are a planner. And when things get out of whack, it throws you for a loop.
Yeah.
And so that's something where possibly something you could say is, I like to plan. But if it doesn't go exactly the way, and so often some of the best things in our life didn't go exactly as we planned, but they end up being some of the best things. So possibly something you could say is, it's not labeling yourself a planner. It's just saying, I like to have a plan. But if it gets haywire, no problem. I'm going to embrace it. It's funny if you twist that just a little bit from saying I'm a planner to I like to have a plan. It's no longer labeling you that, now it's not planned. Now everything's going to go to hell in a handbasket. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we're going to have to work on that.
All right, let me give you another. Here's a different example. So you played tennis in college.
Mm-hmm.
You grew up an athlete your entire life.
Right.
But at some point, you stopped playing tennis. For many of us, including myself, stop being an athlete. That was not an easy transition because we label ourselves an athlete. Everything we associate with is being an athlete. So for me, my injuries pretty much removed that title from me very abruptly.
Mm-hmm.
And so this idea of, wait a minute, if I'm not JM the athlete, then what am I? That took a little bit for me to discover. And that's when I ended up studying abroad. But I guess my point is that would be an example where the label had served for so long, but if it gets taken away, then what are you? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, mine was a little different, right? Because I was able to finish out my 4 years and play college. And I literally, sidebar, I was so burnt out by the time I was done with college.
You were ready to not be an athlete. I was
ready to not be an athlete. Like we had trained 2-a-days. We were running, we were training, lifting, doing all those things, playing 4 or 5 hours of tennis a day, like morning and night. And also like going to a school that's not known for athletics, right? I went to UC Davis. It's a very academic school. The college professors didn't care if you were an athlete. They didn't care if you were traveling across the country, every other week playing in tournaments. Like I had to take I had to take midterms and finals in hotel rooms on planes, right? Just to pass my classes. And so by the time I was done, I was just done. So senior year, I was teaching a tennis class with my coach. I don't know why. I think it was to get credits of some sort. But anyways, I was teaching a tennis class and it was the last week of school. And I sold 6 of my tennis rackets, all of them. Sold them, had enough money, took out my friends. We had a great time.
So maybe that one didn't apply for her. For me, it was a big moment. Not being an athlete any longer was like, hold on. Now there's another one. I actually do still believe I'm an athlete. Pickleball, thank you very much. But no, it was one of those things that I had associated with so long. I had put that, or other people had heaped that label upon me, that it was hard.
Right.
And so discovering, hey, there's more to it. Now, this comes to the last tip, or the last point when it comes to that. The fact that we are our choices, we are not the labels that are heaped upon us, is it's up to you. You get to choose how you show up every day. It is not. So again, if I was shy yesterday, and let's say I was shy for 42 years, but 43 years old, I wake up and I choose to be extremely social, outgoing, that's 100% up to me. And that's what I think is so beautiful. And something that's really been profound in my life is to say, I get to choose how I show up every single day, good or bad, but it's on me. It's not the labels that were put on. So I don't know, you have thoughts to that one?
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely true. That's something that, I think I had so many labels put on me as a child and growing up, and everything was planned out. There wasn't any choices. Actually, now that I think about it, it's like, you're going to do A, B, C, and D. You're going to play the piano, which, hated playing the piano, but that's something that was put upon me, right? Like, you're going to play the piano, you're going to be a gymnast, you're going to be a ballet dancer. I mean, my parents had put me in every sport dance under the sun that they could, right? Because they didn't have those opportunities. So I think they really wanted me to have every opportunity, which was amazing, but everything was so planned out. So by the time I graduated from college, And in college, I learned, oh, you have choices, right? The second you move out of your parents' house, all of a sudden I was like, whoa, I have choices. I get to choose what I want to do. I get to choose who I want to be, how I want to act. And that's a great feeling. And it is true because every day, actually, I told myself that the other day. So I had a tough few days. And I just remember like stopping myself and going, it's a choice. Like you can actually act, and be a victim, or you can act responsibly and have a great day.
Well, and now you're talking about self-awareness, which that is incredible that you're able to do that. One of the best examples I can give whenever I teach people with speaking, public speaking, I'll do this in a room. It doesn't matter if it's 10 people or 100 people. I'll ask, do you believe you're a great speaker? And very few hands will go up, very few. And the point that I let them know and what happens is in this training, the first day, they show up exactly as they said they're going to. I'm not a great public speaker. So they show up. Literally, it's like they're defining their destiny, and they follow through, man. They're not very good. The next day, just changing that verbiage, say, I am a great speaker. They get up and nail it with this confidence, so much better than they did the day before. And it literally started with just saying, I am great. So it's serving them. Or I'm not. I'm a horrible speaker. And it's not serving them. And that's exactly how they show up. That is one of those things that it is one of my favorite trainings to do, to really show people from day one, you didn't change much in that 24 hours. Like you're the same human being for all intents and purposes, but you showed up the next day as an incredible speaker. So it's just it's funny. It's that idea. So labels can be good. And I guess that's what I maybe to start to wrap this up is labels can be good. Some of them are not. So for instance, if you're trying something new, imposter syndrome, that is a real thing. Like when I wrote the first book, I felt like an imposter. I didn't feel like an author because I didn't love to write as a kid. Well, who gives a shit? I'm 41 or whatever I was at the time. I'm not the kid that I was at 11. So why would you feel like an imposter? That whole idea is you can be how you show up every single day. So the point to this whole deal is you are your choices, not your labels. We are not static. So who you were yesterday, you're not the same person today, unless it's serving you. Change is a good thing. Be open to it. Don't resist it, which I'm still working on. And ultimately, it's up to you. You get to show up how you want to. What do we have going on that you want to tell them about?
Well, we have an online course that just got launched, so super excited about that. You can get it on letsgowin.com. Check it out. It is phenomenal. It's a very simple course that you can go through, and it helps you in sales, building a team, helps you in life in general. It's great.
Yeah, I want you guys to check it out for sure. Go to letsgowin.com. If you choose not to do the course, that's fine. Go to the blogs. There's so much information. I'm proud of the work that's put into those because I'm writing that down for myself. I'm writing it down for my kids, for you guys, so that you can apply these ideas that all these really intelligent people have figured out over the years. That's how it's put together so that it's digestible. It's a quick read, most of them about 2 to 3 minutes. So whether it's a course or the blogs, go to letsgowin.com and check it out. Until next week, you guys continue to transcend in life. We'll talk to you then. Thank you so much for listening. If this content is delivering value to you, please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review us. That helps us build this community, and that is what we are all about. Building this community as big as we can, helping as many people as we can, and deliver as much value as possible. Be sure to head over to letsgowinpodcast.com for information on my coaching courses, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Let's Go Win 365. Let's go win and transcend in life.
This is the Let's Go Win podcast with your host, J.M. Ryerson.